Okay. All right, we'll try it out. Okay. The plagues. Let's talk about the plagues. The plagues are funny because it's a really weird section of the story, and also because there are two ways really to talk about it. And we'll call them Charlton Heston, and the other one we'll call, who's Moses and the Prince of Egypt? Who's that voice?
Val Kilmer?
It's Val Kilmer. Okay, we're gonna call him Charlton Heston and Val Kilmer.
Awesome.
The Charlton Heston way is to spend a lot of time talking about the horrors of each one. And the Val Kilmer way is to do it all as a montage and miss the point. And I think we really, rather than talking about each one, we should talk about them as a family. So really, God sends Moses and Aaron to do 11 miracles to prove his power to the Pharaoh. The first one is snake off.
The snake eats the other snakes.
Broken snake. The snake stabs, they eat each other. In this one, let's actually put like a funny little star every time Moses does something that Pharaoh's priests can do. Okay, so he puts a snake, the Pharaoh's magicians, they do a snake thing, but Pharaoh, it's actually Aaron's staff, eats Pharaoh's snake staff. Okay, then you have 9 actual plagues. Sort of. You guys remember we talked about the sources? J, P, E, and D? But we're not really talking about D here. Okay, you guys remember the different Pentateuchal sources, the sources that, according to the documentary hypothesis, are used to composite the Old Testament together. Okay, if you were to take this story and split it out by source, you would find that this one talks about 2 or 3 plagues, and this one talks about 4 or 5 plagues, and this one talks about whatever's left. Okay? This is a really interesting section because most of the time, like remember with the Noah and the Ark story, we could see them being stitched together, just copy-pasted, but there wasn't any editorializing on the part of the redactor, of the scribe who actually took the pieces together. The plagues story is an event where some redactor or group of editors took these pieces and stitched them together intentionally. So the idea that there are 10 plagues, they never call themselves 10 plagues, but the idea that there's this big bunch of plagues leading to this thing, that is someone's idea. It was put together intentionally using the bones of other, probably pre-existing narratives. What I mean by that is not to damage your faith. What I mean by that is, this isn't just a list of crazy crap that happened. There is a specific way that each of these fits together to build to this thing that is not a plague. This doesn't behave like the plagues. This is the justification for a yearly feast. There's no Frog's Day. Nobody's going over for Boyle's Day brunch at Mom's house. None of these justifies a holiday. This one does. This one's special. So number 10 is a completely different thing. What I want to start with is these 9 and how they behave, because we're going to notice some cool patterns. Okay, blood water. Can somebody go to Exodus 7:17? Yeah, I didn't bring a bottle of water. Okay, can somebody give us 7:17?
I got it.
Thank you.
Thus saith the Lord, and this thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Behold, I will smite with the rod that is in my hand on the waters which are in the river, and they shall be turned into blood.
Okay. Okay, so the first thing that happens is a reason is given. Why are we doing this? I'm gonna test out my Tucker Carlson voice. What are we doing? Okay. What is the reason the Lord gives? That you may know
My powers.
my power. Okay. there's a clear, this is gonna happen because of this. Now, check out this funny thing. We're not gonna spend a lot of time on this, but this is really funny. Who is supposed to do the thing in 17?
I will. The Lord?
Thus says the Lord, by this you shall know that I am the Lord. See, I shall strike the water. He says like, go to the Pharaoh and say. So it's like weird. He's like, tell the Pharaoh this, and then God like takes the persona of Moses and says like, hey, it's me, Moses. I'm gonna do the thing. Okay, but somebody now go to 19. I'm sorry, 19.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying to Aaron, take thy rod and stretch out thine hand upon the waters of Egypt, upon their streams, upon the rivers.
Stop right there. So now, in this version, we see two versions stitched together. In this version, it's Aaron doing it. Jump back to the Moses version in 18. The fish in the Nile will die. The Nile will stink so that the Egyptians will find it impossible to drink the water of the Nile. Okay, in the Moses version, it's just the Nile. Can you continue on from right where you were in 19?
Upon their streams, upon their rivers, upon their ponds, and upon all their pools of water, that they may become blood, and that there may be blood throughout all the land of Egypt, both in vessels of wood and in vessels of stone.
Okay, so when it's Moses, it's just the Nile, but when it's Aaron, it's all bodies of water. Two traditions that are just fused together because they had them both, and you don't want to be the guy who chooses which version of the story to not tell. This is also notable because at the beginning of this, if we go back a couple of verses, it's hard to find, it's the translation is tortured, but God uses this phrase. It's typically translated as present yourself before. Oh, that's got pins, my man. Had. What's the other?
It might not even have been in there, sorry about that.
Now, you know what? Oh, they use sticky tape on. Amateur hour. Okay. Yeah, you finish it up, dude. Before. Now it's gonna be video evidence of me tearing it apart.
Actually, he's so little that he can't see him.
But it's, see.
Yeah. It looks like I have an invisible goblin assistant. All those oaths to Satan are really paying off. Okay. Present yourself before Pharaoh, or it will sometimes say station yourself against him. Station yourself against Pharaoh. Okay. Just know that in this miracle, the Lord specifically tells Pharaoh, tells Moses, go put yourself before the Pharaoh before you do this thing. Okay, let's go to number 2. That should be the next chapter, yeah.
Yeah, chapter 8 is the second page from.
Oh, wait. No, we also have to say, is it Moses or Aaron? Okay. 2. Sorry, what was that, Tasha?
Chapter 8 is, yeah.
Please read that. Just start at 8:1.
8:1, okay. So the Lord said to Moses, go to Pharaoh and say to him, thus says the Lord, let my people go, so that they may serve me. If you refuse to let them, do you want me to keep going?
Yes, please.
Okay, if you refuse to let them go, I will plague your whole country with frogs. The Nile shall swarm with frogs. They shall come up into your places, into your bed chambers, and into your bed, into the houses of your officials and your people, and into your ovens and your kneading bowls. The frog shall come up on you and on your people and on all your officials.
Perfect, right there. It's very actually kind of poetic and intense, and it ends up getting adapted into the plague song from the Prince of Egypt. There's a lot of what we're going to see today that is used as dialogue. It's actually really impressive how much of it they used in the Prince of Egypt. Side note, I don't know if you guys have ever read Peter and Wendy by the original Peter Pan novel by Barry. if you ever read it, you have this realization how much dialogue from Hook is actually just drawn right from the book. It's actually really impressive. Like, you would have to have mastered the original text in order to write Hook. Anyway, in this one, so frogs are going to be everywhere. This time it started out with go to Pharaoh. It's much less flowery. There's no station yourself against him or present yourself before Pharaoh. It's just go over to Pharaoh. Now, at the end of this one, okay, 8:3. The magicians did the same with their spells and brought frogs upon the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said, plead with the Lord to remove the frog. So this is great. So we'll put our little blue star because the magicians of Pharaoh did the blood water thing as well. They did the frog thing, but they couldn't get rid of the frogs. Which is a comedic moment, right? This, like, okay.
Just add to it.
Was this Aaron? Yeah, this one's Aaron. Aaron's drawing frogs out of the river, and these guys are like, we can do that. Frogs. And then there's this moment where everybody's like, okay, well, now what? Okay. We're doing that in red, aren't we? Okay, that's Aaron. Okay, please. Eight 12. Okay. Then somebody read us 8:12.
And Moses and Aaron went out from Pharaoh, and Moses cried unto the Lord because of the frogs which he had brought against the Pharaoh. And the Lord did according to the word of Moses, and the frogs died out of the houses.
Will you go to, is that verse 12?
Yeah,
That's 13.
yeah, I went from 12 to 13.
Yes, just the Moses and Aaron went out of Pharaoh, and Moses cried out to the Lord concerning the frogs that he had brought upon Pharaoh.
Oh,
That's all.
weird. I have that as verse 8. They piled up in heaps. Do you have the thing that says, then the Lord said to Moses, a few lines after that? Then the Lord said to Moses something about Aaron. It's 16 for you guys?
Are we going to the gnats?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
16.
Okay. Bizarre.
Which version are you in right now?
Well, I'm using JPS, so I'm using the versification that would have been, they would have manufactured from the medieval Masoretic text. So in all likelihood, I don't have extra information. I probably just have the verses lined up differently, verses of different length. Okay, give me lice.
I really want those.
And the Lord said unto Moses, say unto Aaron, stretch out thy rod and smite the desolate land, it may become lice throughout all the land of Egypt.
Okay, and this one is also Aaron. Okay, so instructions go to Aaron. Aaron smites the ground with his rod, just like he did in blood water and just like he did in frogs, at least in the Aaron version of blood water. But this time Pharaoh doesn't get a warning. We're just doing this. Like, there's no ultimatum. There's no, hey, let my people go. That already happened. We did that with frogs. Round 3, lice. Yeah, lice. Okay. Go now. I'm second guessing all my versification here. Can we go to 8? Welcome to the second triad. Somebody go to 8:18.
Okay, and the magicians did so with their enchantments
Oh
to
my
bring
gosh.
forth lice,
Hang on.
but
We
they
are
could not.
so derailed now.
Verse 17, I read from this, that talks about,
Yeah, will you read that for us?
yeah, and they did so. For Aaron stretched forth his hand with his rod and smote the dust of the earth, and it became lice like a man. And when beasts smell the dust of the land became lice throughout all the land of Egypt.
Okay.
And then 16 before that, the verse before that, the Lord told Moses, saying to Aaron, stretch out thy rod and smite the land, and they become lice throughout all the land of Egypt.
That's the lice.
That's the 16, 30, 15.
Let me get to 8. Oh, good. This one has the maps going out. That's that allows for easy access. Okay. Hang on there, kids. 21, if you please.
Else, if thou wilt not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies upon thee, and upon thy servants, and upon thy people, and into thy houses, and the houses of the Egyptians shall be full of swarms of flies, and also the ground whereon they are.
Keep going. We want 22, 23, and
And I will serve in the day the land of Goshen,
Goshen.
in which my people dwell, that no swarm of flies shall be there, to the end thou mayst know that I am the Lord in the midst of the earth. And I will put a division between my people and thy people, tomorrow shall that sign be.
Okay, thanks. I am in the midst of the earth. So they know I am in the land. Okay, so here it's swarms. Does it say swarms of what?
Flies.
Flies. Okay, so here's what's really weird. Here's what's funny about this one. The word here is unknown. So the word is pedut. So here's the problem. The word swarms, it's the only instance of it. We don't have a great way to translate it. So you will find situations where it says swarms of insects, and other translations will say swarms of wild beasts, which is like,
Very different.
yeah, bug or beast. Okay, now the reason cited, again, we're at the top of the triad here. So plague 4, don't think of it as 9, think of it as 3 sets of 3. So the first set of 3, that you shall know I am in the land. That's the purpose, that's the mission statement. This miracle is that you shall know I am in the land, and Aaron does this one again. And also, this one excludes Goshen. That's where the Israelites live. Not in Goshen. So this one's actually skipping it's skipping the Israelites. So my whole life I have heard, because we read this as the 10 plagues, some people say, oh yeah, the Israelites didn't get any of the plagues. And other people from the pulpit will say, oh yeah, the Israelites had to participate in the plagues too. No, it's actually on a plague-by-plague basis. Okay. Pestilence to livestock. This should be chapter 9.
Mm-hmm.
Can somebody just start chapter 9?
Then the Lord said to Moses, go to Pharaoh.
Go to Pharaoh. You see it again?
And say to him, thus says the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, let my people go, so that they may serve me. Want me to just keep reading until you say stop?
Mm-hmm.
For if you refuse to let them go, and still hold them, the hands of the Lord will strike with a deadly pestilence your livestock in the fields, the horses, the donkeys, the camels, the herds, and the flocks. But the Lord will make a distinction between the livestock of Israel and the livestock of Egypt, so that nothing shall die of all of the belongings of the Israelites. The Lord set a time, saying, tomorrow the Lord will do this thing in the land. And on the next day the Lord did so. All of the Egyptians' livestock died, but none of the Israelites' livestock died. Pharaoh inquired and found that not even one of the Israelite livestock had died. But the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, and he would not let the people go. And that's when mine
Okay,
switches to boils.
that's perfect. That's perfect. So this one is actually, I messed this up. So this one was actually done by God. But the convention we established is that the doer of the miracle is in red. Okay. I neglected to mention, because this is a lot to keep track of, the swarms of bugs or beasts, that also started with a station yourself before Pharaoh. As it turns out, every first in the triad starts with present yourself before Pharaoh. And every second in the triad starts with go to Pharaoh. And every third in its triad contains no warning to Pharaoh. Okay, so this one God does. It's a pestilence. It's not harming the Israelites, the descendants of Joseph. Boils, baby. Somebody go to, I have it in 8. Can anybody corroborate that it's 9:8?
Yeah, I have it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you've all had it, so let me get going here. Nope, not reading that. And the Lord said unto Moses, nope. The Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, each of you take handfuls of soot from a kiln. Let Moses throw it toward the sky in the sight of Pharaoh. It shall become a fine dust all over the land of Egypt and cause inflammation, breaking out in boils on man and beast throughout the land of Egypt. So they did it and appeared before Pharaoh and threw it toward the sky, and it caused inflammation, breaking out on boils on man and beast. The magicians were unable to confront Moses because of the inflammation. It afflicted the magicians as well as other Egyptians. Okay, boils from soot. This one, it sounds like, is actually Moses in red. And this might be everyone. But again, no warning to Pharaoh. Okay, let's go to chapter 9, verse 13.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, I want you to read 13 and 14, somebody. 13 is going to be the present yourself before Pharaoh, and 14 is going to be the reason for this series.
Yeah, I'll read it. And the Lord said unto Moses, rise up early in the morning, and stand before Pharaoh, say unto him, thus saith the Lord God of the Hebrews, let my people go, that they may serve me. For I will at this time send all my plagues upon thine heart, and upon thy servants, and upon thy people, that they mayest know that there is none like me in all the earth.
There is none like me. This all seems really weird. Like, if this is a great story, if it was Zeus saying this stuff, you'd be like, okay, that dude's high on himself. But here's the thing. These themes are going to come back in a really important way. Okay, so 9:14, it's hail. Who does the hail hit?
It sounds like those who believed in the Lord took their cattle and protected them.
Moses held out his rod toward the sky. The Lord sent thunder and hail, and fire streamed down to the ground. Well, egg on my face, I guess there are fireballs. I thought that was really weird in the musical montage. But hail and fire. You know how it is. Okay. Fire flashing in the midst throughout the land. The hail struck down all that were in the open. Only in the region of Goshen, where the Israelites were, there was no hail. Not in Goshen. Okay. The magicians can't get rid of this one. Let's go over to chapter 10. 10:1 starts.
Go to Pharaoh.
Go to Pharaoh.
Want to start reading there?
Yeah, will you please?
Okay. Then the Lord said to Moses, go to Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the heart of his officials, in order that I may show these signs of mine among them, and that you may tell your children and your grandchildren how I have made fools of the Egyptians, and what signs I have done among them, so that you may know that I am the Lord. So Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said to him, thus says the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, how long will you refuse to humble yourself before me?
Okay, will you skip to verse 7 now?
Yes. Okay. Pharaoh's officials said to him, "How long shall this fellow be a snare to us? Send the people away so that they may serve the Lord their God. Do you not yet understand that Egypt is ruined?" So Moses and Aaron were brought back to Pharaoh, and he said to them, "Go serve the Lord your God, but which ones are to go?" Moses said, "We will go with our young and our old, and we will go with our sons and our daughters, and with our flocks and our herds."
Summarize. He's going to say, let us go. We'll take, everybody, we're going to take our animals to sacrifice, because it's established back in the Joseph story that something about the way Hebrews sacrifice and cook is like disgusting to the Egyptians. So they can't take Egyptian animals or Egyptians with them. And there's going to be this back and forth where Pharaoh's like, no, just the men, and you leave your animals behind. And Moses is like, no, how about you send animals and gold while we're at it? And then that trips into 9. Sorry, plague 9, not chapter 9. Plague 9.
Verse 12.
Is it? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, will you hit it?
And the Lord said unto Moses, Stretch out thine hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, and they may come up upon the land of Egypt and eat every herb. And eat every herb of the land, and even all that the hill hath left. Moses stretched forth his rod over the land of Egypt, and the Lord brought an east wind upon the land all that day and all that night. And it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts. And the locusts went up over all the land of Egypt, and rested in all the coast of Egypt. Very grievous were they. Before them there were no such locusts as they, neither after them shall be such.
Okay, wait. I'm going to read a different translation for that. They invaded the land. They invaded all the land of Egypt and settled within the territory of Egypt in a thick mass. Never before had there been so many, nor will there ever be so many again. They hid the land from view. All the land was darkened, and they ate the grasses of the field and the fruit of the trees, which the hail had left, so that nothing green was left, tree or grass, in all of Egypt. Okay. Moses smites this one. It is third in its series, so Pharaoh gets no warning about this one. At the end of this one, Pharaoh calls Moses and says, fine, you can go. Take your stuff. Get out of here. And then, in the presence of Pharaoh, God tells Moses about this one. Again, there is no warning. Kind of. Each of these, where the Pharaoh was given a warning, it's let us go or this will happen. By this point, Pharaoh says go. And Moses says this will happen. Why? The first 9 achieved the goal. Get the people to the wilderness. Why twist the knife? Okay. One of the things we moderns struggle with in the Old Testament is that Old Testament God seems draconian to us. Is that an enormous carabiner?
Yeah.
Wow. It just makes them look smaller. Okay, so here's the thing. In modern times, we like Christian God to be bearded sky daddy who gives you hugs. Because we long for a patriarchal figure who does not abuse power.
God in this is not as nice as God.
So here's the thing. God in the Old Testament is obtuse to us, is difficult to conceptualize because of all of our baggage that, because of Rome and Greece, makes God an emperor or supreme governor of the universe or later a father figure. I want to pitch you a different God. I want to pitch you a God that is the abstract concept of fairness. Think about how brutal fairness is. Do the crime, do the time. This is the God who will give them eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. In a world where nothing is fair. In a world where Pharaoh has full control until somebody can control the weather and punish the powerful on behalf of the downtrodden and enslaved.
Did Moses and Aaron know it was gonna take this many plagues and this many things before?
There's no indication in the story of that, no. They just sort of are errand boys for several chapters. Why death of the firstborn? So God's going to say, just to summarize for our viewers at home, smash that like button. God is going to say, okay, gather up all your stuff. You're going to roast a lamb. You're not going to leaven the bread. That lamb you sacrificed, it has to be without blemish, no broken bones. You're going to eat the whole thing tonight. You're going to paint its blood on the door so that angel of death, who we are hearing about for the first time in this story, there's a death angel, doesn't kill the firstborn of your family. Obviously, the story is pitching that the Egyptians don't do this, and so the firstborn in all of Egypt are wiped out. Why? Where did the story begin back in Exodus 1? Pharaoh ordering the death of the firstborns. This one's not about release. This one's about revenge. This one is about fairness. This one is about child for child. This is a theme in the Old Testament because Old Testament authors value equality of suffering, they value pain, and that is why in a lot of their stories, Babylon, who in a lot of ways is the super Egypt, gets punished for the evil that they do. That is why in the book of Revelation, the ultimate insane Christian power fantasy, not only is the earth burned to protect the righteous, but there's actually a verse that depicts God sexually assaulting the wicked. Like, that's there. Not my favorite basis for a doomsday cult, but somehow they're all high on this book. Anyway, we'll get to that next year. This is about the death of the firstborn Israelites. This establishes this offering, and somebody read us 12:12. This is maybe my favorite thing in the whole story.
For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt. I will execute judgment, I am the Lord.
What? The gods of Egypt being spoken about as if they are real dudes? Awesome. Okay, let's talk about this. Because of our European Christian baggage, we think of our God as being the one real one and all the other ones are fan fiction. And that is not the background that this text comes from. These guys are asking whose God is the boss of all the gods. And this is a story about a God being the boss of other gods. And the original readers would, of course, assume that all of this was an assault on the gods of Egypt. Actually, hang on a sec. Yeah, I think the magicians stop out there. This is gonna feed into something called the divine council later. So the way a municipality or like a kingdom ruled in those days is that you'd have a king. There's a throne. I can't draw thrones. Okay. And then there's a bunch of like little thrones for what Isaiah calls the princes.
It's kind of like what they had in Henry V. The one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All the regents
Yeah.
and all of the governors, the courtiers, right? It says, I think in King James they've been called counselors this whole time. Pharaoh, all of your counselors, but they're courtiers. In the ancient world, the king doesn't rule without his council. Now, it was believed by ancient people that the gods sit in council, and the question is, whose God is the highest, or the Lord of the armies, translated to us as Lord of hosts. So you get a couple of funny references to this sprinkled throughout the text, all throughout the whole Bible. In fact, there is a section in the New Testament somewhere where it talks about a fallen angel who aspires to sit in the north of the council. Anyway, well, he's gonna get you. So this is just something to watch out for. It's gonna come up. I want to point out this other idea real quick. The messenger. In our Eurocentric, don't like how that looks. Eurocentric worldview, a king's messenger is not a very important person. They're a dude with a little lad who loves berries and cream haircut who reads a scroll and says, "Thus saith my Lord." And if they get shot, who cares? In the ancient world, the messenger is deputy king. The messenger is going to have authority given to them from the king, probably some sort of signet ring or a garment to signify their authority. And they have the king's authority when they go abroad. So they are a diplomat. The messenger goes to other countries and writes treaties and writes checks and declares wars, and the king is going to back it all up. And the reason I'm bringing this up is, what's that scripture mastery where it's like, surely the Lord will do nothing save he reveal his secret to his servant the prophet?
Amos.
Amos, thank you. Okay, so that whole part of Amos is Amos caught away in a vision to become the messenger to the council of gods. Like when he says, he will do nothing save he reveal his secret to his servant, the prophet, the context is as a messenger. A mortal who is invited into the divine council to serve a role of executing the high king's authority. Okay, yeah, we got off track. Let's go to 15. Never enough hours. Okay, so the space between where we just came from and chapter 15 is everybody gearing up to go and eating their unleavened bread and taking off. I just want to make a quick pit stop in Exodus 15 because when the kids at the end of Prince of Egypt, they start singing in Hebrew, they're singing this. How does that look in King James? Do I really want to know? Okay. Yeah, now you've got it in an NRSV, which is what I'm about to hand over here, because NRSV displays it as poetry. It is indeed. I will sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. In the Prince of Egypt, they don't go straight to hurling horses into the sea, but they cross the Reed Sea. Oh man, I didn't make a bullet point for this. They cross the Reed Sea. Tradition holds it as the Red Sea. Probably is the Red Sea. The tradition probably comes from the Red Sea, but the text does not say Red Sea anywhere. It says Sea of Reeds. And okay, so Pharaoh's coming. It's got the chariots. The chariots appear to be, they've got that translation. Sea of Reeds. They got to go down. Moses has this idea to use the staff he's been using to do water miracles, like turn water into blood, to hit the sea and open it up. So he opens it up, and they have to go down into the Sea of Reeds. That's actually why this illustration here is unusually poignant and to the point. That makes the second time in Moses' story that he is in danger and hides in the reeds. You see the connection? This is meant to bookend his origin story.
Came to Egypt then?
Yeah. In fact, the story calls out when he's in a basket of reeds that it gets snagged in some reeds when daughter of Pharaoh finds him. So it's a recurring theme with him. So watch out for that. Okay, they get out the other side and they sing this song. And the reason we're making a pit stop at this song is it's a good old-fashioned biblical mystery, y'all. Okay, toward the end of it, verse 14. Peoples hear, they tremble. Agony grips the dwellers of Philistia. Now are the clans of Edom dismayed, and the tribes of Moab trembling grips them. Throughout the song, you're going to hear praises to God's power and the question, who is like you? Mi chaboch haba elim Adonai. Who is like you, O Lord? The idea is that these two, not so much this one, but these two come back in the song. But here's the mystery of the song, this poem. Is it old or new? Because the format matches ancient Ugaritic poetry. Meaning some scholars think this might be the oldest poem in the Bible, or one of them. But on the other hand, it references the Philistines, which had not been invented yet by this point in the story, and Edom, the Edomites. Nobody would care about living in Edom by this point, and if they were, these guys wouldn't know about them. So the structure of it makes it seem like this is really old, but the references in it make it seem like it's really new, which brings us to Sign of the Times. Harry Styles, Sign of the Times, real big on the Project Hail Mary soundtrack. I legit thought this was a 1980s power ballad, y'all. I lost an argument with my wife about whether or not this song was 40 years old. It is not. It is less than 6 years old. So I don't know. Biblical mystery. Do with it what you will. If you ever end up on Ancient Aliens talking about it, give me a shout out. Let's go to 17. This is a good place to spend the rest of our time. This story is so small. I literally only need us to read 7 verses. But it is such a big deal. Can somebody just jump in? Just read it. Just read the thing.
And all the congregation of the children of Israel journeyed from the wilderness of sin after their journeys according to the commandment of the Lord, pitched in Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink. Wherefore the people did chide with Moses.
Chide? Bunch of Englishmen.
They all complained, right?
Yeah.
Murmur.
Ooh. I'm gonna put that up.
People quarrel.
Yeah, I've got quarrel. Okay, continue.
So the people were cross.
Mm-hmm. They're quite cross, yes.
And Moses said, give us water that we may drink. And Moses said unto them, why chide ye with me? Wherefore do ye tempt the Lord?
Tempt. Oh, of course. Tempt. All right.
And the people thirst, therefore water. And the people murmured against Moses, and said, wherefore is this that thou hast brought us up out of Egypt to kill us, and our children, and our cattle, with thirst? And Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, what should I do unto this people? They be almost ready to stone me. And the Lord said unto Moses, go on before the people, and take with thee 3 of the elders of Israel, and thy rod, wherewith thou smotest the river. Take thy hand and go.
What?
Same rod.
Smotest the river? Okay. Is it capitalized?
River?
Yeah.
And let's see. Nope, it's lowercase.
Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but this is, so, other translations will call out that it is the Nile. It probably does just say river in the original Hebrew, in the earliest Hebrew text. We can't really say it's original. Hanahar, the river. Typically, anytime you have like, the river, we're usually talking about the Euphrates. But that doesn't make sense in this part because they haven't crossed the Euphrates. And there's also one situation where the river refers to the Jordan. And it's at the end of Joshua, where he says, choose you this day whom you will serve. As for me and my house, no. Whether it be the gods of the Egyptians, which your father served, which are on the other side of the flood. Flood is a janky Greek translation. It should be on the other side of the river, referring to Jordan. Here, the river is the Nile. Sorry, continue.
Behold, I will stand before thee upon the rock in Horeb, and thou shalt smite the rock, and there shall come water out of it, that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. And he called the name of the place Massah and Meribah, because of the training of the children of Israel, because they tempted the Lord, saying, Is the Lord among us or not?
I want to read that last part again. The place was named Massah and Meribah because the Israelites, Massah, test, and Meribah, quarrel. The Israelites quarreled, and because they tested or tried the Lord, saying, Is the Lord present among us or not? So check this out. This is kind of an interesting thing. The Sinai contains limestone rocks from which small amounts of water drip, and a blow to the soft surface can expose a porous inner layer containing water. I know about that. What?
That's in your book.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This Bible is a JPS. For every paragraph of Bible, there's a paragraph of investigation. Yeah, context, linguistics, literary criticism. Okay. This is such a minor story. Like, think about all the crazy stuff that's going to happen in the wilderness. They eaten birds. They eaten, what's that stuff called? Manna. Literally means, what is it? It's Hebrew for whatchamacallit. I'm serious. It's not a word. There's going to be battles, there's going to be wandering, there's going to be the construction of, first there's going to be the construction of the golden calf, there's going to be the construction of the tabernacle. They're actually going to do, in our next section, they're going to do the covenant of Moses. They're going to go and the people will stand around and Moses is going to make 12 pillars, one for each tribe, and sacrifice an animal. And God's going to give them the law and the holy holidays to commemorate the law and the holy shrine to commemorate the law. And we'll talk more about that when we get to it. But this is the first episode. And the reason I'm stopping to make a big deal about these 7 verses is they will come up again and again. Every time something bad happens for the rest of the biblical storyline, some prophet or some Deuteronomist is going to say, their hearts are as hard as those of their fathers at the day of Massah and Meribah. It's going to come up again and again. They'll keep calling it the day of Massah and Meribah. Isaiah does this 2 or 3 times. I think Joel does it a bunch of times, but Joel loves a good reference to the Exodus story. This is central to the mythology.
What gets to me is they just escaped Egypt, right? It's like
Yes.
all the plagues, all this stuff happens, and they go, well, now we're done.
Now
Well,
we're
yeah,
thirsty.
where's God?
Not
Right?
enough
Like,
graves
yeah,
in Egypt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like their doubt just automatically shifts after all they've seen. They just go, oh, well, like, is he even here? Like, who just did all these plagues back here? Like, right?
Yeah, really. No, it's a central part of the story that the people are difficult to govern, and this weighs on Moses and Aaron and Miriam. Oh, that reminds me. Oh yeah, and in Deuteronomy and in the Psalms it comes up again too. There is a thing I read earlier about the water that springs out being called the Spring of Miriam. Miriam is Aaron and Moses' sister. She's pretty cool.
Question about this.
Yeah.
Why, do you have any inkling why he was told to smite the rock here and then later on gets in trouble for smiting the rock? Is there something?
Yeah. In that retelling of the story, so they wander around the Great Lakes 40 years, and as they're about to go in to the Promised Land, they're about to cross the Transjordan Basin into the Promised Land. Moses is told, you can't go in. And he is reminded that it is because when he smote the rock, he said, something like, do I have to do everything for you? So supposedly he didn't give the credit to God. But like, we only get that story in recap at the end of Exodus. So it's very weird. It reminds me of, I don't know if you guys are familiar with a sitcom called Community. It's a great show. First 3 seasons are some of the best television ever made. You guys are familiar with the concept of a clip show? Sitcoms used to do this a lot in the 90s where like there wouldn't be quite enough budget to make the number of episodes you needed for the season. So there would be one episode where like Uncle Joey and somebody are sitting on the couch reminiscing about stuff that happened earlier in the season. And it's just clips of funny stuff that already happened. So there's an episode of Community where they find a treasure trove. There's a monkey loose in the community college where the show is set, and the monkey's been stealing everybody's stuff. So they find the monkey's trove of stuff, and as they're sifting through it, they're having a clip show. They're having memories of stuff that as the audience we've never seen. Like, it's completely wild. They're like, oh yeah, and it plays like a clip show. They're like, oh, the sheriff badges from when we hung out in that Old West town. And then cut to, they're exploring Old West town. There's no episode of that. That doesn't happen. But like, or the famous St. Patty's Day fishing trip that was a disaster. Like, it just, you don't find out this stuff happened until somebody's telling you it happened. And that's what's going on with the Moses not being allowed into the, like Moses' big sin, apparently, is taking credit for the rock of Horeb, the Massa and Meribah water miracle. But we don't find out about it until he's in trouble for it. Which makes me wonder if, like, it makes me wonder if that tradition is separate from this tradition. Like, is it a situation where we had, the tradition of the person who writes this end of the story and the tradition of the person who writes that end of the story, and they're the same and one got changed? Or are they just 2 different ones and they don't agree, which is equally likely? I don't know. So I wish I had a cool, like, insightful answer. But the real answer is like, yeah, that's weird. What you have noticed is accurate and 100% going on, but does it make any sense?
Nope.
I'm out of stuff. What's the next? Can we see what the next thing is? What do you guys take off? Did I understand right that you were going on a trip this month?
No, not till the end of May.
Okay. Okay, good.
We'll be here.
Okay. Oh, come on, new phone. How do I? Gosh, I feel like my dad.
No, so with the plagues, there's like an Egyptian god that kind of represents each of those.
Yeah. I have heard that and have done next to no research into it because I got blindsided by this whole thing going on. That like 1, 4, and 7 all act the same. 2, 5, and 8 all act the same. 3, 6, and 9 are a matched set. But what I don't know is which ones come from which source tradition. Like, there's some guy, like Mormon, there's some redactor who has decided to piece all of his pieces together in this specific way, where these ones are a matched set, and these ones are a matched set, and these ones are a matched set. And it's possible that the original audience at this time, like the first people who are encountering what we would call the Bible, not the loose text or whatever textual traditions existed before then. It's possible that they would have recognized the gods that were associated with each thing. But I did very little investigation into that correlation before getting totally distracted by this and spending basically the whole week on it.
That's kind of cool thought of like he is the god of all the gods, right? Like that he's like, you're in trouble, you're in trouble, you're in
Yeah.
trouble. Like,
No, that's, and a lot of our language about him being like the most high, the whole king of kings, like literally king among kings, sitting at a table of kings and is their king. Like that is something that was rediscovered by doing archaeology in the ancient Near East. That is something that we now know about Canaanite beliefs, and that includes Israelites, that was not known to medieval Europe, and thus rubs evangelical Christianity the wrong way. rabbit hole you could fall down of evangelical pastors trying to debunk the concept of the what do I call it, the heavenly council, the divine council, is vast. But it's a thing that, like, in the world of secular scholarship, everybody just kind of accepts now. It's not like controversial.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to like look at the different gods that it lists. So it's like for the first one, it's the god of the Nile, goddess of the Nile, and the guardian of the Nile that it's going against. And then for the frogs, it's the goddess of fertility and birth depicted with a frog head.
I love those fertility goddesses.
Is the earth,
Good and
Gnats
fertile.
is the earth god. The swarm of flies is the god of insects and recreation.
Or beasts.
The death, the cattle is the cow-headed goddess and the bull god.
Hustler.
Yep. You knew what it was. The boils is the goddess of healing, the god of medicine, and pestilence god.
Is that cop?
So there's Sekhmet, Isis, and Sunu.
Do you want to know the biggest bummer of all time? Actually, no. It's dumb of me to say this is the biggest bummer of all time. But it's a thing that bums me out real bad. These are all the Greek names. Like the names we're familiar with for Egypt's gods.
The Egyptian name.
They're all Greek names. The Egyptian names we have for some of them, but because our closest reference to actual Egyptian is Coptic, like we can guess at how they were pronounced.
That is not fun.
Mm-mm.
How does this civilization exist for 3 millennia and then just all we have is their bones, I guess.
Emperors.
Whoever wrote the records, right?
So I'm thinking the swarms of bees, is it like hippopotamuses
I
attacking?
don't know. In my mind,
Crocodiles.
in my mind,
You're
it's
in the
just
right
a
places.
sea of wild pigs for some reason in my head. It says beast, and I'm thinking like little javelin.